Well, welcome once more with the Mini Cooper, and here, my friend, how was the drive?
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the word for this beautiful machine.
What do you like in the Mini?
The word itself, mini,
Hmm.
it is compact, yet it is packed with so much of power, so much of fun.
Ah.
So that is one thing that I really love about this machine.
So I think the keyword here is fun, because it doesn't matter how much power you have in your car, but if you cannot have fun on actual roads,
Yes.
I think it is pretty useless. So the Mini actually comes closest for me to riding a motorcycle in terms of, a car. And the low center of gravity, I mean, of course, the form factor, everything comes together beautifully for me in this. And the best part is that I can park it inside the motorvilla. I mean, that is the main thing.
Absolutely.
If I want to upgrade, which is the next logical upgrade, considering number one is finance, second is of course that I should be able to drive it. It should be practical, like
True.
the Mini. You can take it pretty much everywhere. When you go and buy a Mini, they will tell you that you can add this, that, and the price keeps going up. This configuration is around 47 lakhs, which is a lot of money in India. So let's say I can afford maybe somewhere around 60, 65. What do you think in your mind can be the next car?
Well, I'm not very sure about what will be the logical option here, but I definitely feel once you have tasted the blood of the raw power that comes from the stables of BMW, it should be a BMW.
Yeah, so actually I love BMWs because I've been driving BMWs around the world,
Yes.
not only here in India. I've done so many passes in Europe with BMWs, and in America, and everywhere around the world. And I just like the looks of a BMW.
Indeed.
Besides the engine, of course, all German cars, they have very good engines, very good engineering. But in terms of looks, I think I prefer BMWs. And the whole culture around BMWs, little bit of hooliganistic kind of a culture,
Absolutely.
stuff like that. It's like a driving machine.
Absolutely.
But let me show you which machine I would actually like to buy along with this. Should I?
Absolutely.
Close your eyes. How is this?
Wow.
This is the BMW M340i
Wow.
LCI, which is the life cycle impulse, which means that this is an upgrade. Drove this car first time at the Nat Tracks in, I think, 2021, and that blew me away. This is the quickest accelerating car made in India. It wanted me to test this car because I could not believe that in 69 odd lakhs you can have a car which is almost 400 horsepower.
400.
Almost 400. 0 to 100, I love doing that in this car. And sports mode, sports transmission. Wow, it does sound awesome. That's 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds. Oh, it just accelerates out of the corners like a rocket. I think the most affordable performance car this side of 1 crore. And 1 crore is a lot of money. This car right now is around 71 ex-showroom. Which is, if you consider that this engine is around 300 and 70 horsepower right now. It's like actually 14 horsepower lesser than the previous version.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it's a more tractable engine, and it still is super fast. Like it feels faster than I think what the engine is. So let me tell you, first of all, I have not bought this car. This car is unfortunately not mine, or let's say fortunately, because this gives me more motivation to work harder.
Right.
And you know, like we got the Mini, and we might, you know, also get this.
Yes.
But why, you know, I have the XBHP 7 here with, of course, the BMW colors here, which I think, first of all, how is looking right now?
It's actually looking very nice.
It's looking stock, right?
It's looking stock. And to be very honest, when I saw this for the first time, it gave me that feeling of that safety car.
Yeah, yeah, a MotoGP safety car. So that's another thing, is that I have put MotoGP on the Mini.
Yeah.
But this is to manifest that one day I can have this car.
True.
And this is, of course, a press car. This is a media car. And we are here technically to test it. But no, I am not a reviewer. For me, this video is much more than that. This video is about manifesting this idea that I can own this car one day. We can own this car one day.
Sure.
And have this in our stable. So that is what, you know, life should be all about, that you dream and you achieve. And having XBHP, and this is my number 7 here, is goosebumps feeling for me. You know, not only it adds a touch of individual flair, but I think it adds a lot of you know, intrinsic, like, you know, intangible value to this car.
True.
And now I am so attached to this car that, you know, let's see if I can get it or not. But let me talk about few things which I wish that were a little better in this car. So for example, that's a personal preference. For example, I like the M2 better, but M2 is like what? 1 crore, it starts from 1 crore, and on road it will be around 1.15, something like that. It's a little bit more powerful, I think 50 horsepower more. But what I wanted this car to be is that I wanted this car only to have 2 doors. Like I wanted it to be a proper sports car. That is the thing, you know, this looks ordinary.
Yeah, the general sedan.
Yeah, it looks like a, you know, I mean, it's like not exactly, you know, ordinary, but it still could have been more radical, I feel. But with the facelift, definitely, you know, it is much better than the previous one. I mean, like the front skirting and air intakes, and the rear diffuser is much bigger. So, and the spoiler is, I mean, it's almost not
negligible.
Yeah, but I believe they have aftermarket stuff. I mean, you know, I have put spoiler on my Mini, you know, which is of course for looks, and definitely those kind of things will add a lot of character to this car. But ultimately, nobody can take away the fact that the engine is beautiful.
Absolutely.
So do you want to see the engine?
I would love to.
Let's talk about the engine.
That is
beautiful.
Beautiful.
An inline 6, and of course it produces 370 odd horsepower, and it's a little bit down, like I said, from the previous. This is, they call it like twin power turbo, which I think it's for they got 2 inlets, but it's a single turbo. But nevertheless, it like sounds beautiful, as you might have already heard when I was doing that flyby. This whole thing about the letter M, they have been advertising M, the most powerful letter in the world. I have been looking at that since ages, you know, when I was young. So that has actually paid off. That has somewhere in my memory, these 3 colors, they have been subliminally planted. That this is the car to get when you can, you know, when you grow up or whatever. And I mean, do we grow up? I don't think we grow up. You know, it's just that our toys get bigger.
As we grow, the toys grow along with us.
So all the standard, you know, stuff, standard phrases, they all apply to this machine. I mean, it is relatively affordable if you compare with the M3, but it is not as plain Jane as your other 3 Series cars. So it's somewhere in the between. Like I think it's affordability is towards the 3 Series, but performance is a little bit towards the you know, M3. And that is the first BMW that I saw a long time ago at India Gate, you know, must be around 15-16 years ago at least. And I was just in awe, you know, because number one, it's so expensive still, and God knows how, you know, how much it was like back then. And I just wish that, you know, they start making all cars in India so that they're affordable.
Absolutely.
But does it mean that I have forgotten about my first love in terms of sports cars?
The other M.
The Mini? No, definitely not. This is still my overall favorite car. Because sports car, because it's relatively affordable.
It's more practical.
Talking about practicality, I think
Yeah.
the ground clearance of the M340i is 125 millimeters, and that is quite low. So you have to negotiate the speed breakers. You have to take it at an angle, stuff like that.
True.
And in this, another thing that have changed with the previous version is that there are 9-10-inch wheels. So it is overall, it's got a very bold look, especially the alloys. I love the alloy design, and of course the calipers also. They are, I think they are blue. So the M Sports package, I think it's doing its job. And of course this suspension here also. I was driving this, I could feel the bumps and everything, because it has to be stiff. When you are taking corners at high speed and stuff like that. So of course the suspension has to support the kind of driving it is intended for. I think the interior is much more modern, much more advanced, futuristic than the exterior. Now they've got two curved screens, beautiful curved screens. I think one of them is 15 inches, the other is 13 inches. And everything is now touch. There are no knobs. This is what the future is. Like,
Yeah.
keyless, buttonless.
Buttonless.
I like cars which have a lot of knobs. They just, first of all, knobs are much more expensive to make, rather than just having a screen. Because, and secondly, it just adds to the premiumness and just is more involving. So
Feels more mechanical.
Yeah, and that is what there is in Mini. Even the flick,
Yeah.
the start-stop, flick. And when you switch to sports mode, you have to do this in the Mini. So overall, I like the interiors of the Mini. This is the X-Drive system. So it's kind of all-wheel drive. Now, it is primarily the power goes to the rear wheels, but some of the power also goes to the front. But you cannot switch it off. That comes in the X-Drive Plus system, if I'm not wrong, in which you can switch off completely the front wheel so that you can drift in this car, properly. But because it is X-Drive, it's got more traction to put the power, properly immediately. So it takes off, and 0 to 100 is in 4.4. That is what they're saying. But a lot of people, I think they have achieved 4.2 also.
That's quite fast.
And that is stock car. Imagine if you do whatever, remapping and stuff like that, you can. So I think it can easily go to around 450 horsepower. So see, I'm right now talking as an owner, I'm not even talking as a reviewer right now, because that is what I want to manifest, I want to own this. And that is exactly the same thing, guys, that I did with the Mini. So over a period of many years, I used to get Mini as media cars.
Yes.
We used to ask that, we want to lead a ride, can you give us a Mini in BMW India? Of course, we are journalists, so they used to give us, like, they have given us this, the 340. So it had manifested. Right now it is there in our garage, and that is a beautiful thing. So next stop for us, guys, is the M340i. If God
I really wish that comes true very soon.
So I think let's further manifest this.
Absolutely.
Should we go for a drive?
We shall.
And one day, let's hope that this car will be in our garage.
Indeed. Amen.